Our last speaker for this morning is Joe Clayton.
He just left. He just left.
Joe's still here. I'm gonna put Joe's beautiful photo up. Joe is an institutional survivor from Rideau Regional Centre. As he mentioned earlier, Joe is a photographer and an artist. He runs an art gallery in South River, Ontario, and you can see some of his beautiful work displayed around in the front and along the back here. And so please take time over lunch to look at those and to talk to Joe about his work. So Joe's going to share with us his experiences of institutionalization and thriving afterwards. Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for inviting me. I was not going to read it, but then I found it on the computer, so I'll read my story. I was born in Pembroke, Ontario, February 9, 1953. I was 8 pounds, 9 ounces. I was with my mom for 6 years. My mom was sick and could not care for me, so my mom's friend looked after me until she died. I was made a ward of the Charity Society at 5 years of age, August the 18th, 1958. I remember that day as it was yesterday. My mom said goodbye to me and I got into the car. I sat in the back of the car, and then I stand up and look out of the back window. My mom got smaller and smaller, and then she was gone out of my life. My life was like a game. I was always made to move from one place to another. Someone from the Charity Society would throw my clothes in the trunk of the car and would take me to another place. They would say, "You have to stay here." I had no say in the matter. It seems that people kept rejecting me all the time. I felt that nobody really cared for me. People did not seem to understand my needs and my problems. My foster mother thought it would be better if I was institutionalized before I become too emotional involved or too dependent on a foster family. On one day in May the 16th, 1966, the Charity Society put me in an institution. Let me tell you, being in an institution is like living in hell. First of all, I was put in a ward. It was called the Mission Ward. I was 12 years old. Then the staffs got us to take our clothes off and stand naked. They would measure everyone to find out your clothes size. The only thing covering everyone was a nightgown until we got our clothes to wear. We had to have our name tags put on our clothes to make sure that no one stole them from us. It made me feel like a dog. At the mission ward, we would go for a walk outside. We were made to hold hands to make sure we did not run away. It was almost like a herd of sheep to keep us in line. 2 weeks after being in an institution, I was put in a ward 3D with 25 other patients, men who were 18, 30 years old. I was only 12 years old. Can you imagine the fear of a 12-and-a-half-year-old boy would be looking up to these giants? We had to stand in line to get our meals and our pills. The pills were referenced as candies. If we moved, one of the patients would attack me. I only moved once before I learned not to move. We also had to stay in line with our towels around our waist and soap in our hand. And we had to walk down the hallway to get to the showers. We all had to shower in the same place. There was no privacy. It was like being in prison. I was very scared seeing all these naked men all around me. I was hit a lot when taking showers. They used a wet towel to hit me. I would end up with cuts on my body. I was gang raped in the shower by men. I passed out from the attack. People were always fighting and stealing. It made me very scared for my life and personal belongings. I always felt ashamed and that no one cared because how I was treated, and older and bigger men ended up attacking me with scissors. I was cut, but not too bad. I was always scared for my own life. The doors were always locked, and the only time I got out to get out was with staff's members to go for walks, showers, or go to school. I remember when I did not follow the rules, I was put in a dark room and the door was locked. This room was called the side room. I was made to sit naked on a cold floor. I remember a man looking through the window and was laughing at me. I didn't understand why I was treated so bad. I sat in a corner crying because I was afraid and scared. The other things they would do to me if I broke the rules was put my head in a total bowl and make me kneel in a corner for 2 to 3 hours. Not all the staffs were bad. There were some good staffs too. And at night, some patients would attack me and rape me. They told me that if I told the staffs, they would kill me. Every night, different men would attack me and rape me. The word got passed around, and I was called Spongy. This went on for 6 years at night. Sometimes staffs would come around to pull the sheets off our beds when we were sleeping. I would wake up to the staff checking me with a flashlight, and they would put powder on us. They were checking for lice. This was always made me uncomfortable. I didn't know what was going on. I believe now that that was for bed bugs. That's what it was. There was never privacy at Rideau Regional. I was made to eat a whole bar of soap once, and when I swear, this made me very sick. I work in the laundry room, and I had to clean poop out of a dirty linen. I was once told I'd been taken to a brain test. Wires were hooked up to my head, and a piece of wood was put underneath my tongue. I was shocked. And my jaw shook. Living at Rideau Regional Centre was like hell for me, like I said before. And I ran away from Rideau Regional Centre 2 times. Each time, though I returned to the center, I am glad I finally able to leave Rideau Regional Centre that May 16, 1971. On May 16, 2013, I went back to Rideau Regional Centre. It's been 47 years. It was on my 60th birthday. But I did it. And if I ever learned anything from history, is that one has ever learned anything from the mistakes of history, it is, though knowing people's stories, that history is to be built. In this case, that the history of people of Ontario Institution for People with Developed Disability, and a wise man said, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. by making sure people know the history. I believe the Ontario government will listen to people. Then doom will not repeat itself or go back to institutions. Just as a word you don't understand until you live it. I don't hate the Ontario government, but we were there in an institution. It was like a prison. I am upset with the Ontario government because my stomach gets really sick inside. The government did nothing. I was told that the Ontario government knew what was going on in the past. You know, the Ontario government destroyed our lives. I was a normal child before I went into the institution, that's right. When I left, I had a lot of problems of nightmares and depression. For years after I left Rideau Regional Centre, I could still hear the sounds of screams in my head. I had to leave lights on at night to make sure that I know where I am when I wake up. It makes me feel safer. I still have some problems now, but I'm learning to deal with them, and I'm trying to have a normal life. I never heard the word sorry, being able to talk to other people, to others about my experience. Gives me the knowledge to never ever let this happen to anyone again. I believe such hardship in life can forgive, but not to forget. I know that sharing my story is part of my healing process. Thank you.
Wow.
Joe, thank you for that. I'm just wondering if you want to say anything about what you're doing now. I've got the pictures of you and your work. Do you want to explain maybe what's in that photo?
This one?
Yeah, and then we've got a few more too.
The eagle one I did, it was
So those are talking sticks?
talking sticks.
Talking sticks.
I had somebody come to my home and ask me if I would do my story, and they would put it on the internet, so I was talking about my story and that, and when people talk about their story, it's very hard for us because we need, I get very emotional and I relive it. And it's very important to have a follow-up. And so this person listened to me, and she would phone me and say, how you doing, and everything else. And I was struggling how to handle, when I tell my story, how do I handle this? Because I said, I'm reliving it every time I tell it. I found a secret way. I did my eagle after she left. I was by myself, and I did the eagle, and I started finding a comfort way to heal myself. When you tell your story, you have to learn, I had to learn to love myself and to forgive. Once you can do those things, life is beautiful. Once you can forgive and say, it's hard to do that, it's very hard. It takes time, but it can be done. And I have done this. And I'm a painter, and I love life, and I'm not letting the institution take me down. I'm telling my story, but I want people to know that we can have a life. The institution will not rob us from our life. We can have a life, and we can have a wonderful life, and we can have we can do a lot. We can do anything we just put our mind to, and I'm just amazed of all the support that I'm getting now. Oh yes, and I'm independent now on my own. Well, my wife's with me too, but so life's been really good for me, and I'm very happy.
Well, Joe, we're really glad you came to tell your story. And your words of loving
Wisdom.
yourself and forgiveness are very, very powerful. Thank you.
I'm going to give that a little question. Learning about your life and everything your life is so powerful.